This is A Deeper Listen, the show where we talk with musicians about the thoughts and experiences that shape their music. I'm Emily Fox, and today we're talking with Lucy Dacus. She's just released her fourth solo album. It's called Forever is a Feeling. Dacus started releasing music in 2016. In 2018, she had a breakout hit, Night Shift.
You got a 9 to 5, so I'll take the night shift.
Her previous album, Home Video, was her personal story of her Christian youth and teen years set in her hometown of Richmond, Virginia.
In the summer of '07, I was sure I'd go to heaven, but I was hedging my bets at VPS.
Dacus is also a member of the indie supergroup boygenius, along with Phoebe Bridgers and Julian Baker, where they affectionately call themselves the Boys. They playfully remade Nirvana's 1994 Rolling Stone cover, wearing the same blue pinstripe suits and red ties, when they were featured on the front of the magazine in 2023. boygenius won 3 Grammys last year. Now, on Dacus' latest solo release, she's really leaning into love and sexiness.
Pull me by the ankles to the edge of the bed and take me like you do in your dreams.
Dacus' casual, low register draws you in with so many beautifully vivid lyrical scenes, like this little vignette in the song Bullseye.
In many European cities there's a bridge where lovers put locks on the rails and throw their keys into the river beneath. We were 2 such suckers, but the metal weighs down the bearings and the city has to cut the bolts. If our spell wore off, maybe it's all their fault.
I caught up with Dacus to discuss love and taking breaks away from music to experience stillness. But first I asked her if she has a favorite lyrical moment on this record.
Yeah, it kind of changes, but one that always makes me smile when I'm singing it is in Come Out. And it's always weird to say your own lyrics, but it's the task you put me to. I want to be that man on Main Street with a megaphone screaming obscenities to the children and their scandalized moms. I thought that was a funny thing to say.
I wanna be that man on Main Street with a megaphone screaming obscenities to the toddlers and their scandalized mom.
Where did that line come from for you?
I just saw, like most lines, I just saw that happening and I thought about it. And I was very in love at the time with someone who wasn't out. And basically I thought, like, wouldn't that feel like such a good release to like scream to the point of other people being scared? You know, what I want people to know.
Come out, there's no need to hide. I want you, I want you, I want you by my side.
You know, speaking of your song Come Out, I also really love what you sing about in terms of boardrooms and in being out of place in that song.
Mm-hmm.
I missed your call because I was in a boardroom full of old men guessing what the kids are getting into. There was a cardboard cutout of a cowboy in the corner, pointing his gun in my face. I don't belong here, nobody does, except maybe those old men collecting dust.
Tell me more about the inspiration behind that line.
I was in a meeting with a label that was trying to sign my band, and you do a bunch of these meetings and everybody tries to bring their best. And a lot of the time people at labels are actually just music nerds, you know, that they're really people. But occasionally you get the archetypical meeting with somebody that is like essentially a robot and like hardly masking that they're just trying to make money off of you. And gosh, it's so heartless. And Yeah, that's what that was about.
Yeah. And you're talking, was when you say your band, are you talking about Boy Genius?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you take and you take like silks up my sleeve, tight corner to corner, never ending, trick after trick. I make the magic, and you unrelentingly ask for the secret.
I also really love your track, Most Wanted Man. I just feel like it's the most
Thanks.
sweetest, most touching love song I've heard in a very long time. Like, I love the scene that you paint of being at the Ritz.
Just like our legs all double knotted in the morning at the Ritz. $700 room, still drinking coffee from the kid. We're soaking up the luxuries on someone else's dime. Living a dream before we fully pass our prime. And when we do, I'll have time to write the book on you.
And counting bug bites in the summer.
Sitting out in the kitchen counting bug bites on your thighs. Just another southern summer, sweating bullets in the highs. Watermelon dripping down your chin, laughing till you cry. Sweetest tears I ever tasted, kissing salt out of your eyes.
And then your line, I just want to make you happy. Will you let me spend a lifetime trying?
I just want to make you happy. Will you let me spend a lifetime trying?
And I'm just curious, yeah, if there's anything more that you want to say about this track and what it means to you.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites as well, even just like how it sounds. But yeah, I mean the lyrics, obviously, Most Wanted Man, West Tennessee.
To catch the most wanted man in West Tennessee.
It's pretty clear what's going on there, and
Well, maybe we should clarify I'm
uh,
guessing most people know, but I'm guessing that's a reference to Julian Baker, who you recently announced that you are in a relationship with, who's also in Boy Genius, I'm guessing.
yes,
Yes, okay.
yeah, it kind of felt like I couldn't put this record out and be like, no. um, so it's just very sweet. Like realize the first verse is like, I've never expected this, and now like I feel comfortable, promising you things or picturing a long future, and yeah, that's all I'll say.
I never thought I'd see you looking at me this way. Almost vulgar and out of place, like seeing the moon in the day. I find it hard not to look away.
And I also want to ask you a little bit more about your song Best Guess, which is also a beautiful love song on this album. But before we talk about that song, I also read that you love to ask other people how they define love, and I'm curious how you would define it.
Oh, I mean, for me, I think it has to do with selfless attention,
Mm.
and it has to do with extending yourself for the betterment of others on their own terms. Like, I think a lot of people think that loving is innate to who they are, but if you really love somebody, that really involves how they would like to be shown love. And yeah, I guess I don't know, but I'm interested, which is part of why I wanted to do this. Is every time I make a record about something, I learn more about it. So
I
that's
like
been nice.
I like that selflessness element. I feel like if you asked me that question, I'd go totally blank, but I like your answer.
I'm so curious what you would say,
Oh
but
gosh.
you don't have to.
I was thinking about that after I wanted to ask you this question. I was like, I don't know, because I feel like my definition of love has changed so much over the years.
Hmm.
I think since, like getting married, having kids, becoming estranged from my mother. Like there's
Hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
elements going on that makes you reevaluate what love is. And I feel like every time you have a new experience, it shifts.
Yeah.
Like becoming an adult and reevaluating your relationship with your parents your concept of love shifts. It shifts again, when you're in a really beautiful committed relationship. It shifts again for me, having a child, like that was like another level that I've never experienced before. And each of those types of loves are so, so different. But I think when I think about being, in a committed relationship, marriage, and having a child, there's this level of selflessness. There we go. That's the word that I've never experienced before. Like for example, like when my daughter was born, my husband and I, we used to just like always, every weekend was like an adventure. We'd be hiking, we would be paddleboarding to an island. And as soon as our daughter was born, it was like, this is not going to happen. Like the thing that defined us before is no longer going to happen anymore. And I remember this was like in the throes of postpartum blues. When a huge hormone drops happens after you give birth, and you're like crying 3 times a day for no reason. And I remember being like, my life is gone. And he's like, no, this is new, and it's not about us anymore, and it's going to be even more beautiful. And he was totally right,
Aww, so that's really sweet. Yeah. That sounds like a good guy. What the heck?
Yeah. I also want to talk about your song Best Guess. This is, from my understanding, your first song that you assign a gender to the lover or partner you're addressing in the song. In it you talk about zipping a dress,
clasping your necklace, zipping your dress,
and you sing "You Are My Girl."
It's a small world, you may not be an angel, but you are my girl.
And your music video features LGBTQ folks at the center of it. And, for you, someone who came out publicly as queer almost a decade ago, and then also recently announcing your relationship with Julian Baker, I'm just curious how it's felt to embrace that identity through your music to the public, and also through this music video for Best Guess.
I guess like it would be nice to just tell you like, oh, it's been great. I'm so happy. It has been great, and I'm so happy in my life. In the public, I guess like it's not the most fun to have that be contested or something, or I don't even get like too much of that. But I think what worries me is that for some people mentally, they think, oh, if she's gay, she's making music for gay people. I'm making music for anybody who wants to get serious about love. You know what I'm saying? Or not even that. I'm making music for anyone that is touched by it. So I don't like the idea that like gay love is some subcategory of love. It's just the same thing that happens between people. And that's been interesting. I feel like maybe I've noticed that maybe my perspective, people see it as like just speaking to one subsect of people, and I'm just here to tell you that I'm not.
You were my best friend before you were my best guess at the future. You are my best guess. If I were a gambling man, I am, you'd be my best bet.
You are also in the band boygenius, which involves, Julian Baker and Phoebe Bridgers. And it's a band that's currently inactive, which I understand was decided a while back with the goal to protect yours, Julian's, and Phoebe's friendship and energy. And it was kind of like, you're kind of at the height of boygenius success. And then you're like, all right, we're stepping back now. This is what we said we'd do. And I also remember you did a in studio at KEXP back in 2019, and you were standing just outside the green room, which is right next to my desk. And I overheard you say back in 2019, like, hey, I'm going to take a year off. And I mean, little did we know what 2020 was going to be like for everyone. But there seems to be this theme of like taking breaks even when your career is on the rise. And I was hoping if you could just tell me more about the importance of taking those breaks for you.
Yeah, that's so funny you remember that. I feel like I say stuff like that all the time, and then I get scared and I don't want to lose my job, or or I get really inspired. I'm like, ooh, I just really want to make things. But I did kind of take a year off. I was working on this record, but I was mostly at home, and I feel like my life got really kind of smaller than ever, which was nice. And I don't know, I kind of can't wait for it to feel small like that again. But yeah, I think it was a great decision. I know that it doesn't maybe make sense from the outside, or people wish we were still out and about as a trio, but even though we were selling records, we aren't for sale. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We gave it the lifespan that we gave it, and it was really fun. And now we get to remember it fondly, and it's not like it died because we hate each other, or, you know, it's just over because it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm also told you're a very private person, yet you look at your lyrics and they're so confessional, but between that and again those conscious decisions to step back from music projects even when they're on the rise, I'm curious what your thoughts are just around balancing life while also still making music that lands.
I mean, if you figure that out, tell me. I guess actually what I would say is that there isn't a difference. I keep saying this, how you spend your time is how you spend your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a really profound cliche to remember. So your work is your life. There's not a work-life balance. There's just all of it is your life. And so if you don't like your work, you don't like a lot of your life. So luckily it's not oh, going and writing music is taking away from my life. It's just an integrated part of it. I don't know. You're in charge of your time more than you realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just feel like it'd be so hard having a successful album be released, do the tour, and then be like, all right, we're gonna step back. I think it's also really brave though. But do you feel like by taking the step back, you feel a difference? Just like being able to step off that treadmill for a moment, does it
Yeah.
bring you more, I don't know, energizes you again, allows you to be more creative in the long run?
Yeah, it's I don't know, watching your priorities shift is humbling. If you spend so much time with one goal, it can really consume your whole life. But when you give up on orienting yourself towards one conclusion, you notice that your life could go anywhere. And suddenly other things start to be important to you and have the same level of stakes. I think there's a lot of people who fear boredom. And part of, I think, people who are addicted to work fear stillness and quietness with themselves. And ultimately, that can be uncomfortable, but a lot of cool stuff comes from it. And I'd like to think that your interest, the ability to be interested in things, is something innate to you that will show up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I benefited from it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm going to go back as soon as possible.
Yeah. You talking about being scared of like the stillness or boredom also reminds me of that line in Limerence where you say, I want what we have, our beautiful life, but the stillness might eat me alive.
I want what we have, our beautiful life, but the stillness might eat me alive.
I wrote that when I was feeling that, and I think that is actually a credit to stillness. I know the line makes it sound like stillness is the problem, and at the time I thought that was true. But actually, it was the stillness informing me that something was wrong.
Mm.
And now when I'm still, I feel at peace. And
Mm.
so I think that's why it's important to visit stillness, because it can just put you in touch with what is actually happening in your life. If you're uncomfortable when you're still, maybe that is you've been distracting yourself from being discontent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, out of all these tracks on this album, is there a certain song that just is especially meaningful to you that we haven't talked about yet?
I mean, they all kind of, I know where each one of them came from, but maybe Lost Time, the last song on the record. I always think that the last song on the record should be earned,
Hmm.
and you have to listen to the whole album in order to get there. Like, you start with a question, you end up with a conclusion, if not an answer. And yeah, I really like the writing of that one. And again, the how you spend your time is how you spend your life. Like, I think that I just lost a lot of time to like trying to be polite or trying not to ruin things or fear or maintaining the status quo. And especially when it comes to knowing that you love someone, any amount of time that you are not telling them is lost time. So I hope that that comes across for people, and I hope it encourages some people to make some bold moves because it can really work out for the best.
Is a crying shame. It's a crime, a waste of space, lost
KEXP, we're all about music discovery, so we would love for you to give us a music recommendation. What's a song that you are absolutely loving right now, or is a song that's like stuck with you somewhere along your life?
You know what? I'm gonna say Jasmine 4T. I'm gonna say the song Kitchen. Jasmine 4T is she's opening for me on tour. She's an old friend. Me and Phoebe and Julian produced her record, and I am a very very blessed person that she sends me her voice memo demos
Mm.
when she makes them. And I got Kitchen years ago, and I don't know. I just admire her so much, and I trust her voice so much in her writing, and she's just very open-hearted. I think I really respect people who can be unironic and genuine and still make interesting art. That's been kind of a lesson through this is people hearing like, oh, it's a record of love songs. People are so jaded that they automatically think it's going to be a load of cliches when part of my goal is to write about love in a not cliche way, or if there are cliches, kind of reframing them. And she does that too, where I think she talks about desire and love and infatuation from an angle that feels very true, but hardly ever spoken of, in my opinion.
cause you see me run by the kitchen sink, cause you rule the tea through the songs that I played. More the memories made by that silent smile, cause meanwhile I know the thirst that drive your lips to curve the thoughts I know well, but sure as hell don't deserve. Who even made you this way? How could you want this?
Lucy Dacus, thank you so much for your time today. As we wrap up, is there just anything else that you want to say about this record or elaborate on anything else that we touched on?
I mean, this was a great convo, so thanks for having me. Y'all are good. I just, it's funny now making a fourth record, and I remember when y'all covered my first record, and I was like, I've fucking made it. Oh, I can't curse on the radio, But like KXP, I find out about music from you guys. I just had that little moment of like, huh, that's really nice to talk to the same people each time, and it helps me realize how I'm changing. And yeah, thanks.
Well, we've all been a fan from the beginning, and it's awesome to see when we love someone from the start and their career just keeps on going the way that we hope it would.
Thanks.
So congratulations. And again, it's such a beautiful, beautiful record.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. That was Lucy Dacus talking about her latest album, Forever is a Feeling.
Pull me by the ankles to the edge of the bed and take me sleep.
And that was A Deeper Listen. Before you go, please do me a huge favor and subscribe to this podcast, rate it, and review it. Those little things go a long way in helping spread the word about this podcast for free. You can also share an episode with a friend. If you want to put your money behind what you love, if you do love this show, please consider giving $6 a month at kexp.org/deeper to help support the work that we do on KEXP, a publicly funded radio station, and here on A Deeper Listen. But most of all, thanks for taking a deeper listen.